Well, hello everyone, welcome back guys. Hope you all are doing well. This is Mohammad Badruddin back again with another lab, and today we are going to solve lab number 2 from NoSQL injection vulnerability module. And before going further, this little disclaimer as always for you. This video and its content are only for educational and awareness purpose, and I do not support any unethical or illegal act. That's been said, let's jump to the lab. So today we are going to exploit NoSQL injection vulnerability in a way by using operator to bypass the authentication. So the agenda here is the login functionality for this lab is powered by MongoDB NoSQL database. It is vulnerable to NoSQL injection using MongoDB operators. Okay, we will see that in a minute what those operators are. So to solve the lab, log into the application as the administrator user, and you can log into your own account using the following credentials. The username is Wiener and the password is Peter. So before going to lab, I just want to see what these operators are. So MongoDB documents, or we can say docs, right? Okay, and here we are. So this is the MongoDB document. I'm going to database, just wait a moment. This is the manual. So let's go to the manual fundamentals, and here in the left hand side you will see there is reference documents. So go to the reference, and inside reference there are operators. So these are the operators, and let's just click to the query and projection operators. So once we click this, you can see here all the operators used within the MongoDB you can see here, and there are different kind of operators. Like here, as you can see, there are comparison operators. If I make it a bit bigger, so okay, so $EQ, that means equal to, this is the greater than and equal to. In $in means if you have some values within the array and you are trying to find out the specific value among those. You are having an array and you want to see if this specific value or if this specific string is there inside that array, so do XYZ. So in that case you can use this in. So here less than equal to, NE means not equal to, we will use this one also, and NIN, that matches none of the values specified in an array. Okay, so these are the comparison operators. Second, there are logical operators. So comparison operators, then you have logical operators, and what logical operators you have, like and, not, nor, or. There are other elements like $exist, type. So you can read all of these. This is your homework. I'm not going to explain everything or every operator here, but this is very important. This is the thing. You can directly go to MongoDB manual references and you can see all the operators, right? Fine. Back to the lab here. I'm going to my account directly. I already opened up the Burp Suite here, so I'm going to turn on the Burp proxy on my browser, and hopefully we will get a request here. No, we did not get there. This is the login.js. I don't see /login request. So just click one more time, and here we have the get request for the login. Okay, the second thing is I'm going to try to log in with Wiener user, and the password was Peter. Okay, hit enter. So we are logged in successfully, and that seems very normal behavior and expected behavior from the application as a normal user. But we are not normal users, and I'm going to see what exactly happened under the hood. So I'm going to see the post login request, and once we scroll down, you can see there is some input or data within the JSON format. So I'm going to send this request to the repeater and go to the repeater here. Fine. So we already logged in as a Wiener user, but what I'm going to try some random user, let's say cybersec, and the password is radar. Okay, and send this request. So once we send this request, there is 200 okay, but if we scroll down, you will see here invalid username and password, because that username does not exist, or this password does not exist. So what I'm going to do, suppose that there is a username, let's say WIENER Wiener, and its password is, let's say, Peter. Okay, and in this particular document, because all the data is going to be saved in a document, so there could be other things also, like ID is 1. Okay, suppose that email is going to be, suppose that WIENER Wiener at whatever.com, something like this, and maybe there are other fields too. But when we are login, we are just calling these two fields, username and password, to check whether this username exists, and the associate password must be Peter. We are checking like this, and maybe something like this, same like that, we have here other users too. Okay, we have other users. So let's say the ID is going to be 2 and the username is Carlos, and let's say password is Peter123, and here instead of Wiener, let's say Carlos. Okay, here let's say there is another user, Sunny, and its password is Peter147, and username is Sunny, email is sunny@whatever.com. So now what if we manipulate a query? Okay, so what I'm going to do here, let's say cybersec is not there in this document. Okay, in this document there is no username cybersec, but what operator we saw here before, there is an operator that is saying not equal to. Okay, equal to, not equal to, this is equal to, this not equal to. So once we process any login request with normal query, so behind the scene perhaps it's using equal to operator. So it's saying if the username is equal to Wiener and the password is equal to Peter, then okay, login. But what if we manipulate this query, and let's say we say something like this. Okay, we are going to say dollar not equal to, and not equal to what? The username is not equal to cybersec. We saw that cybersec user is not there. Okay, so what I'm saying where username is not equal to cybersec, but let's say password is radar. Let's say what happened. So once I send this request, okay, it's saying bad request, invalid. Okay, invalid JSON, because I forgot to enclose this within the double quotes. Now send it again, and this time, as you can see, the request is redirecting us with the 302 response status code. It's found, and it's redirecting us to my account, question mark, ID is equal to Wiener. That means we are saying let us log in if username is not equal to cybersec, and of course within this document there is no cybersec user, but we are saying that the password is Peter. So of course password is Peter, but this password is associated with the username Wiener, and that's why it is redirecting us, or let us log in as the user Wiener. So if I right click here, show response in the browser, copy that back here, open a new tab and paste this, hit enter. Let's see what happened. And boom, you can see we are logged in now as Wiener user. So after this result, what else you can do? If you get this result, that means you can enumerate more users maybe, but we have to do something else. So up to now we just check username, but the password we know that password Peter is exist. So what else we can do? Let's say instead of this password, I'm going to say here we can put one more condition. We can use one more operator here, same like not equal to, and not equal to what? Let's say not equal to anything. Okay, that means password should not be empty. There must be a password. And username is not going to be cybersec, and the password is not going to be empty. So send this request, and we are not going to get a fruitful result with this query. I will define why. So as you can see, first of all it takes too long, and second of all it is saying 500 internal error. Why it's saying internal error? You can see query returned unexpected number of records. Why? Because of course there is no user named as cybersec, and there is no password which is empty. So the database or the application is trying to retrieve all of the usernames and passwords, or all of the accounts, and that's why it's saying unexpected number of records, because there are too many records. So instead of that, what we can do now here, you can actually enumerate the usernames. How? Let's delete this part. Oh, come on. Okay, and here I can say password is not equal to empty, or we can say XX, capital SS, XX, and 1 2 3. Okay, so we are trying to say here password must not be password not equal to this. Okay, but the username could be anything. So for here I'm going to say AAA. Okay, and let's send this, and of course you are not going to get the result here. You will get result invalid username and password, as you can see here, because we are specifically assign here a user, and once the request is going to see the database document, it is not going to get this username, and that's why you get here invalid username. But what if let's see, I'm going to choose this, right click and send this request to the repeater, to the intruder, sorry. Come here to the intruder. Attack type is sniper is okay. Payload. Okay. Here I'm going to add few username. Let's say root, Wiener, Carlos, admin, test. Okay. User. Okay, and lab is saying if you want to solve this lab, you need to log in as the administrator user. So I'm also going to add here administrator user. Okay, similarly you can add more users here, or you can directly load any user list from this load button. So for test, just I'm going to just add all these users. Okay, fine. Go to the settings, and in the settings I'm going to say grep extract, and exactly the following response. So add this, and here you have the response from the request, which request you send to the intruder. So this is the response of that request, and in that request we found one error, one message, and the message was invalid username and password, this. So I'm going to choose this and just okay. So now any response, once we start the attack, and any response come with invalid user and name and password, it is going to tell us. So just start it and make it okay. Okay, fine. Now you can see this request invalid username and password, this invalid username and password, and there we found 302. Here also we found 302. That means Carlos user is also exist. And if I go to the response here and I right click and show response in the browser, make sure you see here, this is for the Carlos user. Copy this back here to the browser, just paste that, hit enter, and we are logged in. Come on, yeah, we are logged in as Carlos user. Without knowing the password of the Carlos, you bypass the authentication mechanism and you are logged in as the Carlos user. So this vulnerability actually give you one more specific attack surface to enumerate the user, and this way you can enumerate the user. But the thing is, here you can see administrator. The lab is saying we need to log in as the administrator to solve the lab, but here administrator user is invalid. So maybe this administrator user have different name. So that name could be guessable, which you can guess, or that name could be unguessable. So something which is very, very complicated. And for the security reasons, sometimes the security engineers or someone who is configuring a specific device or creating some privileged accounts, they intentionally create a user which is which contains the random characters, and they actually do not sense any name. So for this reason, what you can do, there is another thing or another operator you can use, and the operator name is regex. Okay, we can use regex also. Regex is regular expression, and this is basically for just give you an overview. You can use regex to actually filtering some specific information from a raw data. Okay, suppose that you have a file that is too long file and that contains too much data, and you want to fetch or retrieve specific keywords from that file. So at that instant you can use regular expression, and this is going to make your life very easier in term of handling very, very huge data. So I'm going to close this burp proxy here, and I want to show you something. There is one Pythex. So this is the Pythex. There are other resources too. You can use anything you want. I'm giving an example as Pythex. You can use alternate applications. Okay, there is no favoritism. So in the Python, if you go to regular expression cheat sheet, here you have all the characters and its description. So you will have an idea that where you can use what character. So as you can see here, this dot or full stop, it's saying matches any character, and then this star sign is saying 0 or more, and 0 or more or anything, but you can append the question mark if you are working for non-greedy. So simply, for example, suppose there is something, let's say a user intentionally created test, then some special character, something like this, and let's say 1236 or whatever. This is, suppose that this is the username. Okay, this is the username, and no one, trust me, no one is going to guess this username. Although if there is SQL database is used in the backend, and if there is a vulnerability, blind SQL vulnerability, so at that instant you can retrieve this username by enumerating the users, but this is very, very tough normally to guess this one. Okay, so now what we can do, we know that test or maybe first four characters are going to be make some sense. So if we say suppose that, let's copy this. Okay, copy this, go to the Pythex. Here I'm going to put my string. This is my string. Now in regular expression, if I say, let's say test dot and star, and as you can see, it choose everything. If I delete from here star, it is just going to choose it after test one character, which is dollar. But I want to choose everything up to the last, anything after test, including test. So it takes test also and rest of the string. Okay. So similarly, let's say I'm going to back to the intruder. I'm going to close this one. And first of all, let's try whether this will work or not. So I'm going to enable the burp proxy here, back to the burp suite, go to the repeater, because we know that winner user is there, right? So I'm going to test here. Okay. Here I'm going to say regex, which is regular expression, and within the regular expression I'm going to say w dot star. That means it is going to give me any result or any username that starts with w and that contains anything. Okay, so it will include w, and after w anything it is going to give us. Okay, so here let's say I'm going to put here password is Peter. Okay, so if this is successful, that means it is detecting winner. So as you can see here, we are successfully logged in as the winner user. That means this regular expression is working. So why not, let's say. And also there is another thing, the password for winner is Peter. So even if any other user starts with w character, it is not going to have the password Peter. Very less chance, right? Because two users having the same password, so less chance, but could be. Okay, that means regular expression is working fine. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say here, let's say admin, and for the password, because if anything starts with admin, okay, but the password is not Peter, it is not going to make us log in. Let's say you can see here 200 response code, but invalid username and password. Why? Because maybe the user something like, let's say instead of test I'm going to say admin. Suppose this is the username, it starts with admin but containing some random strings or random characters. So maybe this user exists but its password is not Peter, that's why it's not make us log in. So what we can do here, we can use another operator, and that operator is going to be not equal to. So not equal to anything, you can make it, leave it empty, you can use here null also, okay, or you can give any random string. Okay, so now let's just send this request, and as you can see here 302 response code, it is redirecting us where? Redirecting us to this endpoint, but here it is also exploring the exact username, because once we try to log in with the winner user, it is giving us the ID is equal to winner, and here it is giving us the ID. Actually the ID is username, so admin and then a random string, right? So that means this is the user having administrative privileges. So I'm going to right click, show response in the browser, copy that back to the browser and just paste that, hit enter, come on. And yes, we are logged in as administrator and the lab is solved. So that's it for this video. Hope you understand it. Hope you enjoy the content. If you like it, please like, subscribe and share. I'm going to see you in the next lab. Bye.